some of this stuff's going to blow you away. You're going to think, why hasn't anyone ever told me about this before? And as I've said before, it's because you've not been on this channel very long. That's why. This is going to be about the tools that I use in my wrapping room, my packing room, whatever you call it. I have a room dedicated just for wrapping. I have tables lining all four walls. It's a large room. It's actually a dining room, but we don't use it as a dining room. We use it as a wrapping room. We have tables from Costco, from Sam's, those white long tables all along every wall. We have our computer against one wall on one table, and then all the other tables are for wrapping. We've got boxes and tape, and everything is in there. We've got a few tools that you will find to be very handy whenever you start using. I really like a lot of tools. I think that anytime we can save money on something that we're doing every single day over and over and over and over, if you save 20 seconds every time you do something and you do it often, that's a lot of time that you've saved. Time is money when it comes to this business. I want you to have more and more time to list more and more items, because in this business, you make money when you list an item. You will never make money off anything that you buy if it's not listed. That's when you make the money. So let's talk about tools. Speaking of tools, I've got my step ladder behind me. You can barely see it. It's blue. You can see the little blue. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, that's my step ladder. Sadly, I've never met my real ladder, but that's my step ladder. So, okay, moving on. You probably know about Scotty peelers already. Scotty peelers allow you to take price stickers off things. And that's good to do. I've done a video that I will copy and show you where it is. Somewhere here above me, I will show you which video it is, all about whether you should leave price stickers on an item or not. There is a selling strategy that says you should leave some price stickers on, and you'll learn all about it in that video. Scotty peelers are a grand way to remove price stickers from things without hurting the item underneath, and they almost always work. Once in a while, if you can't get a Scotty peeler to peel off a label, and you sometimes have to be very patient, but it will start peeling it off, then you can get a hair dryer and heat the label, heat the gum up, and then the Scotty peeler will peel it right off. I just don't find any utility at all to the plastic Scotty peelers. I only use the metal ones. Now, I know people that use the plastic ones, including my wife, for things because she doesn't want to mar something underneath an item or a book. I just never find that to be the case with the metal ones. And I find the metal one to remove price stickers that the others don't. But the others, they kind of get, all of these get kind of gummy because of the goo underneath the price sticker, and you'll need to clean them with some cigarette lighter fluid. Will get it right off, or alcohol wipes will take it right off, the gummy stuff. But I find that these get sort of dented and chipped very easily, very fast. The metal ones take a long time to dull. Now, that really shouldn't be amazingly new news to you. If you didn't know about Scotty peelers before, you need to get Scotty peelers, especially the metal ones, in my not so humble opinion. But a lot of you know about Scotty peelers, especially if you also made the mistake of trying to sell on Amazon for a few years instead of sticking with our first love of eBay. And so you probably know about Scotty peelers. Now, a lot of people use these metal Scotty peelers because they're pretty sharp. They're not razor blade sharp, they're pretty sharp. You can actually use these to cut boxes and tape. You shouldn't. I mean, it's kind of like using a screwdriver as a pry, as a crowbar. Don't do that unless you don't care about using the screwdriver ever again for screws, because it's going to mess it up. And every time that you cut with your metal Scotty peeler, you're shortening the life of its true use, which is to easily help you remove price stickers. I've got something better. I believe that instead of using a Scotty tool for two different functions, you keep your Scotty peeler to remove price tags, and you get one of these yellow canary cardboard cutters. These things are wonderful. They stay sharp for a long time. Whenever they finally dull, you will just replace them, but they're cheap. I mean, $8.20 for this one, for one. And if you buy 2 or 5 pieces, they're even cheaper per item. The nice thing about these is they are coated with a plastic, and you can cut packing tape off boxes, so you can open things that you get. You can open returns and all of that. You can cut cardboard. They're made to saw cardboard very nicely, very straight, just so easy. It just cuts through cardboard like butter. And yet they're not extremely sharp, and they're so much better for you to use than your Scotty peelers, which you should save for price sticker removal, in my not so humble opinion. I'll put a link to the canary cardboard cutters, but You can find them, just Google them. You'll find them both on eBay and on Amazon. But this is the kind I like, and I use them all the time. You should consider getting some. Next up is a cardboard scissors. Now these are large. These are large scissors by this Alex, A-L-L-E-X, I don't know, Alex. That's the brand I have. There are other brands, and they do wonders at cutting cardboard, very thick cardboard. Don't use your scissors to cut cardboard because you're going to dull your scissors and it's not going to work well for paper and things like that. You can use your canary cutter for cardboard, but sometimes that's kind of rough and you want to be more exact. You want to cut around an edge or something like that. You need scissors to cut cardboard, but very thick cardboard, often our boxes, are just too thick for scissors and you're going to dull your scissors far sooner than you should. These Alex cardboard cutters are wonderful. They work great and they cut through cardboard nicely. You can control them, and I'll put a link to those in the comment section here, but also you'll find them anywhere that you look. You'll find these. You Google them or whatever. I think you ought to have a pair of these scissors. Now, at each table in my wrapping room, my packing and wrapping room, at each table I've got Scotty peelers, I've got Alex cardboard cutters, I've got the yellow canary cardboard cutter, tape, all of that. We have one at each table that's along the walls. Now, this kind of doesn't really fit, but I thought you should be considering this. If you ever think that you're ever going to sell jewelry or metal of any kind, like silver coins or something like that, you need to get a jewelry scale. This will weigh grams of jewelry. This will weigh grams of gold. You can put a gold piece on here. You can put a piece of gold metal on this. You can put a piece of gold or silver, 925 silver jewelry, and you will have the exact gram measurement. This is critical whenever you're selling jewelry, and you should be selling jewelry once in a while, even if you know nothing about jewelry. Okay, let's just say you're a man, you know nothing about jewelry. I feel your pain, but you should start considering jewelry, especially costume jewelry can be very valuable. Now, costume jewelry implies it's not fine jewelry. It's not gold or silver or something like that. But even costume jewelry, you need to be able to measure things properly. And I guarantee you, in spite of the fact that your scales that you use for weighing your boxes every day, in spite of the fact they've got a button on there that you can change from pounds to grams, it will not weigh grams properly. You must invest in a precision jewelry scale. Do an electronic one, and here's one for $10. I mean, they can be expensive. You can find them for $100. You don't need to. Just get one that's 200 grams and just get one and put it aside. And one of these days, whenever you start selling jewelry of some kind or any type of precious metal, you're going to be glad you have one of these. And since it was in my wrapping room, I don't have one of these at every table. I've just got one for the room. It's all you need. But I saw that and I thought I should tell you about that in this initial video on packing and wrapping ultra advanced eBay tools. Speaking of your tools and you're doing things in your wrapping room, you're going to be plugging stuff in. You're going to be plugging in maybe electronic scissors. You're going to be plugging in scales here and there. You're going to be plugging in all sorts of things. I have a power strip with scales at each one. I have a power strip at each of my tables. So I've got a long wall that has 3 white tables. At all 3 tables, I've got a power strip on top of the table that plugs in underneath. And then on my shorter wall, I've got one at each table. And on my other long wall, I've got one at each table. And on the floor, now you can't really see these, I didn't take a great picture, but behind all my boxes that I keep underneath all the tables, I also have a power strip for each table. Because sometimes you're on the floor and you need a power strip, and sometimes you're up above and you want to just plug something in temporarily. Now, for your scales, you may not need to plug in. You may have your scales, whenever you weigh things, you may have scales at 1 or 2 tables that are just basically going to be permanent. Well, you want to plug those in downstairs, down in the floor on that power strip. And I would also use some labels to label each of your power cords, what they are. I didn't show a picture of these, but all of my cords do have a little white label that is folded over that tells what it goes to, not only on this end, but on the end that plugs into the device. So maybe about right here I've got a piece of paper that, if that goes with these Accutech scales, a little sticker that says Accutech scales, and then where it plugs in to the other end of this, I didn't show this very well, I'm sorry, but where it plugs into the actual scales, I've got another sticker that says Accutech scales. So that at each end, I know when I'm down in the floor crawling around on my power strip, I know which power brick goes with which device that I need to plug in or unplug or move or whatever. Do this now. Do this when you first plug something in, and you'll always be glad that you did. You'll always be glad you know what you're doing. Now, this is the big trick. This is what everyone seems to really appreciate when I tell them. So here is something that you're really going to thank me for later. You might even thank me for it now. And that is, I want you to start looking for, whenever you're at a garage sale, anytime you're seeing notions, now men, that means sewing stuff. Anytime you see anything to do with notions, sewing supplies, look for measuring tapes, cloth measuring tapes. And what I want you to do, if you have just one table that you wrap and ship on, or if you've got, like me, 7 or however many I have, I want you to have a measuring tape taped to the front of each table. Now here is the way that I first did it. So I have one of these at every table. What's my box? I'm weighing something and I need to enter it in the computer. What's the box size? What size of box do I need? Well, here's how long my item is. I'm about to wrap, so I know which box to grab. This is so much better than keeping a ruler or a yardstick handy. And I still keep a yardstick handy. You still need one of those for something. But one of these at every table, it's a game changer. I mean, this is great. Just tape it. Now, what you're going to find, as you see right here, your tape, I use packing tape to tape all of this, and it comes up over time. It starts coming up as things move on and off. I've had this room now set up for 5 years or so, and my packing tape is beginning to peel off. Sometimes get a little smudgy where, I don't know, other tape has touched it or something. Whenever I'm replacing these, I will not replace these on the edge of the table like this. I will go down to this narrow edge and put them there. That's going to be so much better. So if you do it this way, you're going to be glad that you've watched this, because this is going to save you so much. Where's my ruler? Where's my tape? Where's my measuring? Where's my? You're going to be able to measure anything and everything that you're boxing and shipping and everything else. This is so much better than what you do now, which is not this, but I strongly suggest, and I will do the same, and this is about ready to come up. This is coming up in several places, as will happen after 5 years, and I suggest that the next time that I tape one of these to this table, I'm going to take this up actually pretty soon, I'm going to tape it to the edge here, to this edge. And then things won't rub against it, things won't pull it up, things won't mess it up, and it will last, I think, for 10 years on the edge of a table like this, and I get the same benefit. So it doesn't really mess me up that I get the same benefit. I even have this on my listing computer table. Of course, my listing desk, I have measuring tape taped to the edge of the desk. Now, again, I would put it on the edge of this if there's room. Now, this desk is actually a little too narrow, more narrow than this tape. I probably on this desk would always have to keep it on the edge. But how many times? So you're doing item specifics and it says, what's the height? What's the weight? Width? What's the, well, I don't have to ever search for a measuring tape for anything. It's always right. I'm looking at it, right? It's right here at my keyboard, right here. And so not only for your wrapping room and for your wrapping and packing table, for your mailing table or tables, I strongly suggest you put this on your listing desk, your computer desk as well, in front of your keyboard. And as you're listing things, you're going to find it to be so, you're going to be so glad you have this. So what's the width of my Longaberger basket? I know I use Longaberger as an example all the time. It's kind of on my mind right now. What's the width? What's the height? It's all just right here. All I have to do is just look down, and I have the answer to all measurements as I am listing items. You will thank me. This truly is an ultra advanced eBay tip.